LALITH. I am first year undergraduate student from IIT Roorkee. My branch is Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. So today we have one problem statement. The program to check two numbers are relative prime or not. So first let's see what is relative prime numbers. Uh, Two numbers are considered relatively prime if their greatest common divisor GCD is 1. Means we have to check the GCD of two numbers is either is 1 or not. This means that they have no common positive factors other than 1. For example, here we have an example that given two numbers are 8 and 15. These are relative prime numbers because there are no common factors in 8 and 15 except 1. So we can call these two numbers as relative prime numbers. But now consider 8 and 12. See, now 8 has factors, 8 and 12 has 8 has factors 1, 2, and 4, and 8 itself. And 12 has factors 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 6, and 12 itself. So we can see that there are two, three common factors: 1, 2, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. So here, which is GCD is 4, which is greater than 1. So we cannot tell that 8 and 12 are relative prime numbers. So now I think you understood the basic terminology of prime number, relatively prime numbers. So now let's go into the. So this is the main part of the code. I will explain the code now. What is my ideology is that I have created a for loop such that it runs from 1 and the loop runs for minimum of a comma b. A and b are the numbers which were given by user as input. So I'm creating an if loop such that a percentage I, this percentage I operator tells that when a is divided by I, it gives the remainder. Now the meaning of a percentage is equal to 0. It tells that when a is divided by, if remainder is 0 and b divided by I and remainder is 0, then run this statement. Now I'll explain this statement. Now I have created a sum which is a variable of type integer. I'll show in the total code. I've set it to sum equal to 0 from starting only. I'll tell the reason afterwards. Now after this, I'm adding sum equal to some place psi. I will tell the explanation of this code. So suppose user has given for us two numbers, let's say 5 and 7. Now minimum of 5 and 7 is 5. So this loop runs till 5 times. Now if in if statement a percentage I and b percentage I. Now first I equal to 1. From I equal to 1 it starts. 5 percentage I is 0 when I equal to 1. I 5 percentage I is 0 and 7 percentage I is also 0. Now it goes to next operation, that is sum equal to 0 and sum equal to some place I. Now here the sum value is 1 because 0 plus 1 is 1. Now when I equal to 2, when I equal to 2, what happens? 5 percentage 2 is not equal to 0 and b percent 7 percentage 2 is also not equal to 0. So it skips the if statement and again it goes to I equal to 3 and it happens so on so on so on and 5 until 5 the value of sum doesn't changes. So at last when we'll do C out sum, we'll get some value as 1 only. Now suppose we have taken in another case. Now when let user has given 2 and 6, so minimum of 2 and 6 is 2, so the loop will runs for 2 times. Now check it out. A percentage I, when 2 is divided by 1, when I equal to uh, 1, what will happen when 2 percentage I means when 2 is divided by, we will get remainder 0. So first condition is satisfied. And when 6 is divided by 1 also, remainder is 0. So second condition was also satisfied. So it goes into the if statement. What happens here? It tells that sum equal sum plus I, means add the value of I to 0. So we'll get after the statement sum value equal to as 1. Now for I equal to 2, again loop runs a percentage I, that is 2 divided by 2, remainder is 0, and 6 divided by 2, remainder is also 0. So again it enters through the loop, that is sum equal to 0, sum equal to sum plus I. Again the sum value sets to 0, because the loop all when we run, every time the value of sum refreshes to 0 and it continues. After finally after continuation of loop, we'll get some value of something, any integer. Now if that some value is 1, then we can say that two numbers are relative prime. If the sum value is rather than 1, then we can say that both are relative, both are not relatively prime. In this case, now when sum is when I equal to 1, the sum value has set it into 1. But now when I equal to 2, the when I equal to 2, it conditions satisfies the both conditions, that a percentage I equal to 0 and b percentage I equal to 0. So it enters to the loop if statement, and the sum value again refreshes to 0, and the sum value again changes from 1 to 2. So after the completion of the loop, when we'll see out sum, we'll get the value of sum as 2. Now I'll show you this in the form of code. And now if, and one more example, if we will take suppose 1 and any another number, suppose 1 and 20, the minimum of 1 and 20 is 1 only. So this loop runs for the first time only. So when 1 divided by 1, remainder is also 0, and 20 divided by 1 also, remainder is 0. So at last we'll get some value also 1. So we can say the actually the sum, what it tells that sum is the number which is the GCD of the two numbers. Now a and b in this 2 comma 6, the GCD is 2, uh, because 2 is common factor for highest common factor for 2 comma 6. Now if suppose you have 4 and 12, which I have shown in the presentation, this loop runs for 4 times. When I equal to 1, again it satisfies the condition a percentage I equal to 0 and b percentage is equal to 0. So here the sum equal to 0 and sum equal to sum 0 plus 1, that is for the I equal to 1 time, the sum is 1. So when I equal to 2, when I equal to 2, 4 percentage 2 is 0, and 12 percentage 2 is also 0. So again it enters the loop. Again initially in last, for the last loop, the sum value is 1. Again it freshly again it undergoes that sum, again the value of sum turns to 0, and sum equal to sum plus I. Again the sum value of sum equal to 2. Now when I equal to 2, the sum is 2. Now, when I equal to 3, 4 percentage 3 is not equal to 0. So the it doesn't satisfy the condition. So it will not enter to the if statement. Now, when I equal to 4, what happens? 4 divided by 4, remainder is 0, and 12 divided by 4 is also remainder 0. So again the sum value refreshes to 0, and when some again the sum value becomes sum plus I. Now I value is 4 here. So here sum equal to 4. Now at last, after the program is this for loop has been ended. Now if we'll see out sum, then it gives the value of 4. Why 4? Because the GCD of 4 comma 12 is 4. Indirectly the sum indicates the GCD of given two numbers. Now I will show you in the form of code. So this is the code, and I have a, b, sum as three integers variables. A, b is input integers. We have seen c in a, b. Enter two numbers to check if they are relatively prime or not. This is the code that I have explained earlier, for loop code, and you now added one more extra part, that if sum equal to 1, that is GCD of two numbers is equal to 1, see out that it means show output that A and B are relatively prime, or else show output that they are not relatively prime. Now let us check this code. So the code is running. Let us enter 3 and 7. 3 and 7 relative prime numbers because the common factor for 3 and 7 is 1. Let us check another test cases. 2 and 8, not relative prime because GCD of 2 and 8 is 2. And one more test case, that is, let's take 1 and 65. 1 and 60 are relative numbers because both the common factor of both 1 and 65, that is highest common factor, is 65. So that's it. This is how the code works. Thank you.